a situation, and then God spares you. And I said to the young man, I said, well, I believe that you're someone intelligent, and I believe that you can see why that I asked you to do what I did, and I can think that you can see what happens when you don't. And I expect you to learn on your own from this. But you could just realize in his spirit the surprise that he didn't get what he had coming. Another incident, we had a brother living at the brother's house. And he'd been there for quite a while and got behind in his rent because I was too busy to monitor it as close as I should. Finally put somebody on it. And he came and saw me. He was 3 months behind. And he said to me, he said, Pastor, I don't know what I'm going to do, how I'm going to pay it. And I said, well, it's not fair to others that you live there without paying rent. And he said, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. He said, I just don't see a situation has come up. I've been caught where that I've now got to pay alimony where I wasn't. He said, I purchased a car, and the car was quite a nice car, and had big payments on it. Well, we have to be responsible people, and you can't go out and buy a new car and not pay your rent and expect the landlord to be the person who carries the weight of it. And it didn't, make sense on that part. But, however, he was supposed to get back to me a week later. He didn't. And I was going to contact him again, and something happened to him, and he was able to get a hold of some money, and he paid it all up. But he came and saw me last Sunday, and he said, Pastor, he said, when I owed so much, he said, I want to thank you for being so gracious and being merciful to me. He said, I want to thank you for being merciful. He said, this is something that I've never had happen to me before. He said, I want to thank you for that mercy because I know that I didn't have a right to it. And I didn't want to blow his wonderful picture by saying the only reason you were merciful, received mercy was because I was busy. But in that moment, I began to learn something. God's mercy and God's grace is a precious thing. And we have to dispense it at times, but it's only something precious when we know how much we owe. If we feel like we owe nothing, then mercy is nothing to us. Grace is nothing to us if we feel like it's all right the way it is. But when we know it's not all right the way it is, my life isn't all right the way it is, my situation, my conduct, the way I blew up what I did, it's not right. I know it's not right. But in that moment, God takes the guilt out of the picture. Oh, how wonderful he comes to us, because he's not a God who is coming to us to destroy, but we look and see that it is indeed a truth. By grace are we saved, not of works that men should boast. This is God at work in our lives, and we can rejoice. And there's a need to give mercy. There's a need to give mercy, and it's the mercy that we receive that we remember longer than anything else. I remember the mercy at one time, a youngster, just maybe 17 years of age, and I had a girlfriend prior to Shirley, and I don't know why I even make that a big do. Obviously, most people would. I married her when I was, 21, so that was 4 years between. But once I did meet her, she's the only gal I went with, and married her real quick. How long did we go together? About a year. That was quite a year, believe me. It was a great year in some respects. I was in the Navy, and then I would write letters, practice out my romantic ability to put words. You still got those letters? Please don't put them in the bulletin. But anyhow, I remember I had working for my dad, who was a small contractor, and had a small cement mixer on the back of a pickup truck, and got to her street, and all of a sudden I decided, let me swing by there. And I swung real quick, forgetting that I had a cement mixer on the back of it, and turned that corner, that thing turned over, and cast iron drum on it and everything, and it was all pieces. I mean, it did a real number on it. No insurance to cover it, of course, so it was all, a loss. And my dad didn't say anything. There are some things that are so bad that you don't have to say anything. there are some things that are bad enough. There's no point in saying anything. If you don't feel bad yourself, then something's wrong with you. You know, I was crushed. And my dad was that kind of a man. He knew when you hurt. And my dad would say, you know, if you already feel and you already know what your actions